While times and things may seem uncertain, one thing we're clear on is that in order to help limit and stop the spread of COVID-19, we must follow the guidelines being outlined by the government. The increasing numbers are not reflective of the place we wish Jamaica to be, so let's all do our part. By now, I hope you're all keeping a 6-foot distance between yourselves, wearing your mask in public spaces, and washing your hands frequently with soap and water or using an alcohol-based sanitizer. Our daily aim here at Jamaica Magazine is to keep you up to date with the latest information. I'm Theodore Henry, always willing to facilitate that journey. So welcome to the show where all that keeping up starts now.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
Here's one of our greatest tools in this fight against COVID-19, a proactive government helping us in every way possible. And as that proactive leadership continues, here's the latest development on the local COVID-19 response measures.
With a virus sweeping through over 200 countries, threatening the life meter and livelihood of millions, it's easy to see how a health crisis could transcend to an economic one. Jamaica is no exception to the wrath of this new virus, COVID-19, which calls for social distancing as one of the best weapons to stop its spread.
It means that people will be out of work and out of a job, out of an income. You know, the hire purchase piles up, the electricity bill piles up, the food bill, you can't meet it, the frustration grows, and then people say the medicine is worse than the illness.
But recognizing that, government has established a task force chaired by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark to keep our economy going.
So this is the balancing act. We have to figure out how to put in place measures that slow the spread, control the spread, whilst at the same time not doing irreparable damage to our economy.
The COVID Economic Recovery Task Force is a multi-stakeholder task force drawn from persons from a diverse sectoral background, private sector, civil society, academia, and from the public sector. Working with such a diverse group, I'm highly confident that we will be able to put together the contours around Jamaica's economic recovery in this time of the COVID pandemic. We want to make sure that in all the decisions that are made, we don't allow measures that are targeted towards significant but temporary health crisis to have long-term or permanent economic damage. We want to ensure that we can always recover economically, even though we take a pause for the moment in order to deal with the health effect of the crisis. We also want to make sure that we position ourselves to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that a post-COVID-19 global economy offers, as well as to ensure that we take account of the realities of post-COVID-19.
While the task force looks at the economic big picture, there is an interim initiative that will see thousands of persons receiving grants in the coming days to deal with immediate economic fallout.
The government of Jamaica set up the CARE program, and we have the set cash component where persons who have been laid off can apply for temporary assistance over the next few months. And the data provided by those applications is quite instructive and gives us a real-time assessment of what is transpiring in the economy. We have tens and tens of thousands. We have over 60,000 CARE set cash applications. The vast majority of those are for persons who work in the formal sector. And we are seeing that the job losses, the layoffs, are occurring in a number of sectors and subsectors. Now, as the Prime Minister mentioned, these are all Jamaican citizens who play their part in making our country function. These are human beings and these are livelihoods. And we have to be as concerned about these livelihoods as we are concerned about protecting lives from the health perspective. We announced the CARE program on the 24th of March in the closing budget presentation. And 2 weeks later, on April the 9th, I believe, or 2.5 weeks later, on April the 9th, applications for the CARE program were opened, and we have over 500 applications on behalf of approximately 500,000 Jamaicans. This makes the CARE program the largest and the broadest social intervention program in Jamaica's history. Since Friday, April 24th, that is Friday just gone, the government has been engaged in the verification and processing of these applications. And that verification process involves establishing the eligibility of each applicant for the CARE product that they applied for, and also verifying that the bank account that exists is an eligible bank account. Since Friday, approximately 350,000 confirmations of eligibility have been sent by computer-generated text message to the mobile phones of applicants for the compassionate grant. Those applicants can expect to receive their grant over the coming days, and another text message will be sent automatically computer-generated when those grants have been paid over to financial institutions that they have, that the applicants would have submitted. Of the 500,000 applications that I mentioned earlier, 60,000 were for set cash grants. And those set cash grants are being processed as we speak. For an individual to be eligible for payment of a set cash grant, the former employer who effected the layoff or the termination will have to upload a P45 form to the website of Tax Administration Jamaica. We are focusing on processing the 450,000 compassionate and CARE grants, which account for approximately 90% of all applications. And then, after that, which will be in early May, turn our attention to processing the general grants, the small business grants, the tourism-related grants, and the best cash grants. And we will do so as speedily as possible.
And to supplement all those efforts, Jamaica is seeking to access a rapid financing instrument from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF.
We expect that application to be considered in a few weeks, and for Jamaica, for disbursement to be made right after that. We are actually entertaining missions from the fund at this point, virtually, of course, and the discussions are underway, and we expect our application for access to the rapid financing instrument to be before the board of the IMF very shortly in a matter of weeks. I would have received a response to the letter, which I shared with the public, that was sent to the managing director of the IMF, and received a very favorable response that alludes to Jamaica's strong and long track record that favorably disposes the fund to attend to our request expeditiously.
And with that, our financial stability is being protected with the Economic Recovery Task Force, the COVID Care Program, and the Rapid Financing Instrument, all being used to alleviate the economic setbacks that have been caused by COVID-19.
An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. What to do if you think you have been exposed or are experiencing signs and symptoms of COVID-19. Immediately call 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. In addition, you should stay at home. Don't go to work, school, or any public place. Do not use public transport, and avoid visitors to your home. You may need to do this for up to 14 days to reduce the spread of the infection. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
One uncertainty in these times is the income for some people, while for others, it's how long their savings will last. Speaking of, we have some tips to help you protect your savings and stretch your earnings during this pandemic.
With COVID-19 now in Jamaica, we are being advised to stock up on hygiene supplies that can be used to protect ourselves, as well as to have at least 2 weeks' supply of food and water in reserve. A lot of us may not have the disposable income to readily do that, at least not without tapping into a little savings we have managed to put aside. But financial experts will tell you, whatever the need, it is important not to deplete our savings, and money management is critically important. But how to do that? First, don't rush to shop, or panic shopping as they put it. Why? Because you may buy things you don't immediately need, leading to wasted spending. Next, I would say assess your home situation. Check how many persons are in the family, if there are babies, toddlers, and persons with special needs. You should then decide on the amount of available money you have to spend. Make a list of the things you need. The experts suggest at least 2 weeks' supply of basic food items and medication. To help with your shopping list, it's a good idea to work out a meal plan for the period. Next, be disciplined. Try not to divert from this meal plan too much and finish the supply early. This would mean going back to the store to spend more money. Protecting your health is priority number 1, and being smart with your expenses actually supports that. We must remember that we are not sure how long the country will be going through this pandemic. So, as best as possible, we need to ensure our money can carry us through for as long as possible, and hopefully have reserves for after.
From the data, we can see that most countries will enter a phase of rapid increase in cases. However, depending on the containment measures employed and the timeliness and effectiveness of their implementation, the severity of the increase in infections can be managed downwards. Empowering citizens with information that encourages responsible personal hygiene and community health behavior, such as washing hands regularly and staying home if ill, tracing and containing infected and contact cases, that is, quarantine measures, and implementing social distancing measures, gathering restrictions, for example, have real effects on slowing down and containing the spread of the virus.
It is said that by May, the country may have reached the peak of confirmed cases of COVID-19, but the recovery process and further containment measures may still be in place for a few more months. So, what else can you do to protect your financial health? A key thing is to not max out your credit card and income because you are worried that supplies will run out. Check for moratorium on mortgages and loans. Use this as a reserve cash flow instead of your pay or savings. I know it's easy to get off track with plans, but we have to be disciplined and we have to prioritize. now more than ever.
An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. How to wash your hands. Firstly, wet your hands. Then apply some soap. Rub your hands palm to palm. Lather the backs of your hands. Scrub between your fingers. Rub the backs of fingers on the opposing palms. Then clean your thumbs. Make sure to wash your fingernails and fingertips. Rinse your hands. Then dry with a single-use towel. Use this towel to turn off the faucet. And now your hands are clean. When to wash your hands? After coughing or sneezing, after taking public transportation, when caring for the sick, before, during, and after you prepare and eat food, after toilet use, when hands are visibly dirty, after handling animals or animal waste. An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The World Health Organization is reporting a 5-fold increase in cyber attacks since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The reality is, technology is increasingly becoming a significant part of our lives, especially with many of us staying at home to work or to study. Of course, that helps, but a glitch is that it's giving rise to cyber stalking and other forms of cyber attacks. That same technology can become a tool for others to harass or stalk someone, so we're encouraging you to be aware and alert. Here's a personal story to reinforce what we've just said.
I'm Tony Anlati and I am a victim of cybercrime. Started when my friends and I were in school and we all received a friend request from a weird name. We didn't know who it was at the time, but because we all got the friend request, we figured more likely it was a real person, so everybody accepted this person. Wrong move. So everything was fine in the initial stages, but maybe like a week or two after everybody accepted the friend request, some strange things started to happen. They would send us messages, sometimes individually, or they'd send the same message to everybody just to see what kind of different responses we would have. And it was very weird, to say the least. But then after that, it's like they upped the ante a little bit to start. Well, they started to tell us things that we were doing and places that we were going and people that we were with, and it was just like, okay, do I know you? Well, we became very paranoid. It's sensitive information that this person is telling you, it's places that you never really announce it to people that you're going here. So when you see somebody send you a message to say, oh, you're here with this person and this person, you start to look at your friends now like, it's you, I know you're playing with me. You just tell the truth and let's move on. But it wasn't any of them. When everything happened, at that time we had a lecturer who was a DSP. So we started to get advice from him asking, what to do, and at that point he told us that the best thing to do is stay as safe as possible, and so we started to leave school extra early, but we sort of just took matters into our own hands to try and find the person ourselves. We Googled how to trace IP addresses, and that's how we found out that the person who was doing this was actually a member of the school community, or they would be attached to the school Wi-Fi at the same time that we were at school. Eventually it stopped because we made an uproar about it in spaces where we suspected the person was. So we began to speak very loudly about it. We let them know that we would be pressing charges and we'd go out with a bag of things. We didn't know who the person was, but we figured more likely that they heard us loud and clear. To this day, we don't have a definitive answer as to who the person was. Yes, we have our suspicions. But I can't really point at somebody to say, you are the person who was doing that. And that's a little scary to me. Looking back now, I think we all would have been much better off and a lot less paranoid if we kept ourselves to ourselves and only added people on social media that you know for a fact are your friends. If somebody doesn't have a profile picture, that's probably not somebody that you want to share your information with. To everybody else, I just say, be very careful on social media because things and times have changed, and there are some people out there with really malicious intent. So you just have to be very, very careful, be observant, be vigilant.
In these times, we cannot neglect the fact that there are a number of persons who tend to use, overuse, and abuse some health-threatening substances. Here's why giving much thought and attention to this issue is so important.
Generally across the world, it is accepted that persons with substance use disorders and people who are chronic users, problematic users of various substances, particularly smoking. So you're smoking cigarettes, you're smoking ganja, you're vaping, and then also alcohol use puts you at a unique risk for developing the complications that are associated with COVID.
The novel coronavirus that causes COVID-19 is notorious for attacking the human lungs. It's no wonder then that among the most vulnerable are people with compromised lung function or lung disease as a result of chronic smoking and alcohol abuse. The National Council on Drug Abuse is now more than ever urging Jamaicans to reduce and avoid excessive smoking and alcohol use. Though persons may feel the need to resort to substance abuse during the COVID-19 outbreak due to stress, worry, and fear, this can be a detrimental move. Rather than relieving stress and worry, substance abuse will weaken the immune system, damage the liver and lungs, and put persons at greater risk for suffering the worst symptoms associated with COVID-19 and other life-threatening illnesses. Additionally, the behavioral practice of smoking also poses added risks. If a person's hands are contaminated, then putting a cigarette, spliff, or vaping device at their mouth will cause them to easily become infected with COVID-19. To reduce drug abuse among chronic users, the National Council on Drug Abuse has proposed a few coping mechanisms. Contact your relatives, friends, and ex-addicts if you are struggling with chronic drug abuse. They may not be able to physically be there with you, but a call can give you the encouragement you need. Having a healthy immune system is important to survive this and any other virus. So ensure you eat well and engage in regular exercise to boost your immune system. Some parents are experiencing additional stress by having to supervise their children at home during this time. Structure can make you more productive and lessen chaos. It can also be beneficial to ask your children to help create the schedule. Make time for alone time. Ask other family members in the home to supervise the children while you do something for yourself. Use the time to better yourself, create new habits, focus on what you need to learn, grow, and give. Spend time pinpointing the things that are making you stressed and prone to abusing drugs. Try to address them one step at a time and find ways to distract yourself when these triggers appear. The National Council on Drug Abuse is now offering telecounseling throughout the island. For the Eastern Office, persons can call 876-926-9002 or 876-469-2521 for the Central Office and 876-940-2240 for the Western Office. Persons can also contact the General Helpline at 876-564-HELP. That's 876-564-4357.
we really need to cut the hate and work together as a country, as communities to overcome. I really do not want to hear about any case of persons threatening people, abusing persons because they hear that they have the virus. And also for healthcare workers, we don't want to hear that we are also not cooperating with our healthcare workers.
Social distancing, a now common term in many of our vocabularies, right? It simply means that you're creating physical space between yourself and others you come in contact with. For now, let's make that space 6 feet or more. If you're having trouble doing this, here's why you should make it a practice and ultimately a habit. Number 1, social distancing can dramatically slow the rate at which COVID-19 spreads. Number 2, in practicing social distancing and slowing the rate of spread, we're easing the burden on our healthcare system and our healthcare workers. Number 3, the spread of COVID-19 can occur in asymptomatic stages, where persons who don't yet know that they have the virus can spread it. So, keep your distance. And number 4, if that's not enough, understand that it's a directive from our government. Maintain a 6 feet distance from those around you. The effect of this practice will help to flatten the curve and get us to where we want, which is a country that everyone will come to see as a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do all your business.
By order, under the Disaster Risk Management Act, you must wear a mask in all public access places and in public transportation. If you wear a mask and I wear a mask, we are all safer.
Today's show is ending, but your actions to help Jamaica COVID-19 free shouldn't end. Today's edition shared a lot of the virus's impacts, how you can help, and how others are helping you. If there was a detail that you missed, no worries, catch the full recap on our YouTube channel, and while you're at it, visit the JIS Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry, begging you to stay inside and stay safe. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.